Welcome back to LarryB YouTube channel. Today we'll be learning how to make this beautiful wrap blouse. It's a very simple blouse and it is beginner friendly. If this is what you like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. Okay, so to make this simple blouse, I'll be working with a basic pattern block, okay, a basic bodice block. Okay, so this is the back block, and I'll be using this back block to cut both the front and the back. So I already have a detailed tutorial on how to draft this, and like I said in that tutorial, the basic bodice block is very important because you'll be seeing me using it a lot in the tutorials that I'll be uploading, and I will not be drafting them all the time so that the videos will not be too long. So if you have not watched that video, you may need to go and watch it. I'm going to put the link down in the description box below. So I'll be using this black pattern now, and I'm just going to be placing this directly on my fabric. This usually is a crop top, but for me, I just want the length to be extended a bit. Okay, so if you are making a crop top, you can just stop your length around 18 inches or 19 inches depending on how tall the person is or the person's half length. But for this tutorial, I already have a seam allowance around here, so I'll be stopping mine around 22 inches with my hemming allowance because that is the length that I want to go for. So the length you're going for is totally up to you. I'll just go ahead and place this on my fabric and cut out my back block so that we can work on the front. Okay, so I'm using this Ankara fabric for this, and I've placed it on my fabric now, and I've cut it out. This pattern doesn't have any allowance, so I wanted to add 1 inch allowance on the side seam, and like I said, my hemming allowance has already been calculated to my pattern, so I don't need to add any hemming allowance to it. And then I wanted to add 1/2 inch here on the shoulder for me to join it. So now I'm going to be setting this back block aside now so that we can work on the front block. Okay, so for the front, I'm just going to be putting my fabric on fold. The length I'm working with here is 36 inches, which is around 2 yards on fold. So let me just make sure so that we can see. So this is 36 inches length on fold, and I've put this on fold. So I'll be placing this like this now. Then I'm going to be placing my back pattern on it so that I can draft out my front pattern. Okay, so this is my back body that I can like we normally use 3 inches by 1 inches for our back bodies. The front part is going to be a V shape. So the first thing you're going to be noting is how deep you want your V shape neckline to be. So you're going to be taking your measurement from your shoulder point here, and then you're going to determine where you want it to be. So it can be on 7 inches, 8 inches or 9 inches depending on what you want. I think I'll be working with maybe 8 or 8.5 inches, which is here. Then I hope you can see this. Then I'm going to take my ruler, the slightly curved part of the ruler, because I don't want it too sharp. I'm going to connect it from my shoulder point here all the way to my neckline, and I'm going to cut that out. Okay, so the back is just a regular back neckline, while the front has been modified to a V-shaped neckline like this. So after cutting out my neckline, I'm just going to be placing this pattern on my fabric like this. And remember that I added 1 inch allowance to it, so that I can have the same thing in front and back. I'm just going to be placing my back on it also so that it can guide me on the exact allowance that I used for the front. So here I'm just going to place this on the front part. So now I know where to place it now, and then I can decide to cut off this side. I hope you can see this. So I can decide to cut off this side now. Since they are the same, the only difference is just in the front neckline part. I'm going to stop there. Now I've shaped my side. Now I'm going to place my pattern directly to meet up with the center front here. Then I can remove my back part panel. I'm removing my back panel now, and I'm just going to place something on it so that it doesn't shift. Okay, so now from my, let me shift this so that we can see it. From my neckline here, I'm going to be slanting this in a diagonal form to meet the hemline of this place for my belt. Okay, so I've held this with a pin and I hope you can see it well. So what I'm going to do to create my belt will start from around here. So on this hemline here, I'm going to be going up by 2 inches, or you can do 3 inches, but I'll be going up by, I think 2 inches is fine for me, or 2.5 inches. Okay, I hope this is visible. And then I'm going to mark it here. Okay, after that 2 inches, I hope you can see the mark. After that 2 inches, I'll mark 3 inches from the 2 inches point. So that is going to be the size of my belt. So now using my ruler, I'm going to be connecting this 2 inches part to the hemline of the blouse, and then this upper 3 inches part, I'm going to be connecting it to the V shape of the blouse. Okay, so you can use your ruler to do this, or you can also use your free hand. So I'm going to be connecting from here all the way down like this, and then for the other side I'm going to be connecting it to the hemline. So I hope you can see that like this, and this part is going to form my belt. So now I'll take my scissors and cut out everything. Then I'll take it to the sewing machine and sew. Okay, so this is the front now, and this other one is the back. So I'll remove my pins now. Then I'm going to take this to the sewing machine and then join it together on the shoulder and on the sides before I pipe the neckline with a bias. Okay. So I'm just going to place it like this. Okay, as you can see, I'm going to be placing it on each other like this, and then I'm going to place the back on it. So after placing my back panel on it like this, I'll sew it on the shoulder and then on the side using the 1 inch allowance that I left. Then I'll bring it back to show us. So after joining the shoulder and side seams together, this is what I have. So on the neckline area here, I'm going to be piping it with this bias. Okay, I'm going to be piping it from here, from the sleeve all the way to the neckline, front neckline, to the back, then back to the front neckline, and then to the other part of the belt here. And then on the lower part, I'm just going to be hemming it normally like here before we open the side that our belt is going to pass through. So I'll just take this to the sewing machine now and hem the neckline and the hemline, then bring it back to show us. So I've gone ahead to hem it with my bias, and also I've hemmed the hemline also. So the next thing you need to do now is to choose the side that you want your belt to enter, where you're going to be creating your belt of. So if I'm choosing this side now, from the hemline, I'm going to go up by around 2 inches. Okay, so I'm just going to measure around 2 inches up here, and then I'm going to be opening it by maybe 2 inches too. So I'm measuring this place now. Then I'll take this place, I'll lock it here, here and here, and then I'm going to loosen this place. Okay, so this place is where my belt hole will be entering. So I'll just take it to the machine now. I'm going to lock here using my back stitch. Sorry, and I'm going to open up this little space that I have here. Okay, so I've gone ahead to open it up here, as you can see. So the next thing now is for me to close it by folding this over like this. So I'll fold this over like this, and then I'm going to go ahead to top stitch on it, and then fold it on the other side also and top stitch on it, so that this place can open up freely. So this process, you should do it, I hope you can see, you should do this before you hem your blouse. I had to loosen it on the hemline a bit so that this seam allowance can open up for me. So I'm just going to be closing the seam allowance like this, then I'm going to be top stitching on each round so that my belt hole can come. So from this side now, this end of your belt hole is going to enter into this part of the belt, and then I'm going to arrange this well. this other part also is going to fold over on it. Then you can decide to tie your belt anyhow you want to tie it. You're still going to be ironing this, okay? So like I said, when I was folding this, I just put 36 inches on fold for my front part, because that is the only fabric that I have left. But it's not going to be enough for my rope now. So what I'm going to do is I'll just cut excess fabric, then I'm going to be joining it to this and to this end, so that I'll have a longer rope to tie it to any style I want. Because the beauty of this is having a long rope. If you have a long rope, you'll be able to decide if you want to tie it at the back, if you want to tie it at the front, or if you want to form a bow with it, because this has to go and meet this for them to be able to tie each other. And if you notice, there is no lining in this dress, which means you should be serging all these rough edges so that you have a clean finish. So now I'm just going to go over to close to hem in this, so that my belt hole will be open. Then I'll add extra belt to both ends of this now, and I'll take it to the mannequin so that we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so this is a wrap blouse. You don't need to add any sleeve of your choice to it. I already have different sleeve tutorials on the channel. Just pick any one you want and fix it to the armhole. So this is the overlap part of the blouse, and this is the belt. So like I said, I just added a tiny rope to it. Later, if I get enough fabric, I'll do a proper belt, because I don't have any fabric left over. So I just added this tiny rope so that I can tie it to the front like this, and you can either tie to the front or back depending on your choice. So you can see this is a very simple tutorial, and it is very beginner friendly. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you enjoyed this, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.